Now looking at our list of tasks to do, we could tackle them from the top to bottom. So remember in the last lesson, I mentioned that there are a number of ways that you can prioritize your tasks. So one way to go about this is to try the hardest or riskiest task first, making sure that that feature is even possible. Now for us, we've never played an audio file before, so let's just make sure that even works. So the lowest risk item on this list is adding the play button icon to the list items. And this is because we've modified layouts before, so we know that this is possible. So let's go ahead and save this UI change for the end of the lesson, when we go ahead and do the visual polish. To get started, we're going to have you create a tiny music player app, separate from the Miwok app. Developers often write a small app to test a new technology before building it into their own larger app. Now by creating this sample app, you'll become familiar with the Media Player API. And by the way, you may hear the term API come up occasionally. And that's just an acronym for Application Programming Interface. So when we talked about interfaces earlier, remember they're like contracts that Android provides promising certain functionality, so things like playing media using the Media Player class. So we don't need to know all the details within the Media Player class, things like how it gets the sound to come out of the speakers on our device, but as a developer, we just care that we can use the Media Player and call methods on it to play media files. Alright, for this quiz, you'll be building this simplified music player app that works for a single song. So in this app, hitting play plays the song, and hitting pause pauses the song. Now when you hit play again, it's going to resume where it was paused. First, create a new project in Android Studio and start with the empty activity template and go ahead and build out this layout. In the notes below the quiz, we've provided a link to help find and download sample MP3 files for your app. Note that you can also use your own MP3 files if you want. Be sure that the audio file is stored in the RAW folder within the res directory of the app. To create the RAW folder, within the Project Structure tab of your app, right-click on the res folder, go to New, and select Android Resource Directory. Then name the new directory RAW, R-A-W, and choose its resource type to be RAW as well, and then hit OK. Then you can copy and paste the song file into this RAW folder. Our MP3 file is a pre-encoded file that needs to be processed as is, or RAW. For a more detailed description on resource folders, check out the Providing Resources article in the notes below the quiz. And then we'd like you to add the provided audio file to the res/raw directory of your app. Then I'd like you to modify the code by adding on-click listeners to make each of the buttons actually play and pause the song. Also, give it a try and experiment with other functionality provided by the Media Player class. So for example, you can try adding a button that changes the volume, or even skips the middle of the song. So for this task, you'll need to research how to use the Media Player on Android. To make this all work, we won't provide you the exact website to reference. Instead, take a look at tutorials on Media Player in Android on your own, and then do some trial and error on your app to make it work. So best of luck!